who's winning the Vans giveaway prize thingy? Kim, Beat, you're tracking this, Kim? Because Kim, how many friends do you have now? Like 25 you brought? 6? Oh, that's close to 25.
Chad brought Van brought his friend.
Okay, Van, you got 2 friends. Okay, and you got 6 friends. All right, so what you need to do, Van, is get Kim to stop coming, and then you keep bringing more friends. All right, well, you need her then. My name's Dave. What's your name? Tiffany. Nice to meet you. And Jeff, right? All right, dude. Good to see you again. Have you guys ever been in a group of friends that did something wrong, and they got in trouble, but somehow you got in trouble with them, and you weren't involved in the activity? Can you think of a time when your friends got you in trouble when you didn't do anything?
Yes.
Okay. Of course, I've got a story to tell about that. So, back in college, which is probably, too long ago.
20 years ago?
It's like 15, 20 years ago. I lived in the dorm room. It was an all-guys dorm. And about midnight one night, me and 2 buddies are hanging out in my dorm room. And I worked at Papa John's Pizza, so we had pizza and we were eating and hanging out. I used to work on my motorcycles back behind the dorm, so I had a can of starter fluid in my room. And as we're eating pizza, my one friend grabs a can of starter fluid, sprays it on his hand, and lights it with a lighter. Does anybody know what happens when you do that? Boom. Big old boom. But it's an instant of a nice, really cool flame. Boom. That's it. Once the starter fluid is burned up, the fire's out. His hand wasn't actually on fire. We're like, dude, that's great. Like, we had this like fireball invention that he just thought of. We happened to live in the dorm that was like 130 years old and about to burn down at any minute. And everybody knew that. Like, any minute, this dorm was gonna burn down. It was like real shaky and old and like had asbestos everywhere, and like, I mean, you know, anything was gonna knock this thing over. Everybody was afraid that this thing was gonna catch on fire. And also, this Friday night, this weekend that we were doing this on, that we discovered the fireball, happened to be like the freshman welcome, where like high school seniors would come and they would check out the college and they'd hang out for a weekend. And so there were a bunch of like high school seniors down the hall watching a movie. And I had the bright idea, so this was all me. I'll take credit for this part, but later it's not me. So I grabbed the can of starter fluid and I went down the hall, and I kind of popped in the room. Hey guys, what's going on? All right, cool. Yeah, you know, a bunch of freshmen with some other guys, and I sprayed the door. And I lit it, and the whole door was going. The whole door was on fire. And everybody freaked out. This all guys dorm. There's no girls, but there were girls screaming. And one guy's heading for the window. You know, like they thought they were gonna die, and they didn't know that it was just here and gone. It was a second, but the whole door was on fire for a second, and they thought, oh my gosh, like there's only one door. Like they're not getting out of the room. It's like a 2-story window or 2-story room. You know. They freaked out. There was, you know, fecal matter on the ground. It was really awesome, and it was hilariously funny. The next part, and that was all my idea, but the next part was not my idea. When they figured out how we figured out the fireball idea, it evolved into a dude riding a flaming skateboard down the hallway. And when they proposed the idea, of course I didn't, you know, disagree with this. So I said, oh, that sounds good to me, but I didn't do it. So they spray the lighter fluid all over the skateboard, light it on fire. One of my buddies is riding it down the hall. The problem was that they sprayed too much lighter fluid on it, and so there was like a puddle, and it was like a fiery puddle of like liquid. And as he was riding it down the hallway, it was spilling off, flaming like fireballs are spilling off on the carpet, which is not good because carpet burns. So as we see him going in the hallway, he's like starting little fires all over the hallway of our dorm room. It's about to burn down at any minute, and everybody knows that. So we're like running after him, like putting them out, stomping them out. No problem. We put them out. Nobody died. But the fire alarm was right in the middle of the hallway we were doing this at, and there was smoke from the carpet, and we couldn't really do anything about the smoke. You know, there was no fire, but there's smoke. So the fire alarm just starts blaring as loud as you, and we're like, oh my gosh, but we didn't even think about the fire alarm. we book it hoping that nobody's gonna know it was us. They roll out, like, the whole city's worth of fire trucks, because they all know, like, oh my gosh, the college is burning down. So they roll out 10 fire trucks. It's a huge fiasco. By this time, it's like 1 in the morning. They call all the bigwigs from the college, the president, the dean, like anybody that mattered was getting a phone call, and they were coming down to the school because they thought there were going to be like 50 dead students in the old crappy dorm that they knew was going to burn down anyways. Needless to say, they weren't happy when they realized it was a bunch of goofballs, like making a fireball out of a lighter and starter fluid. I don't know who told on us, but somehow my name got dragged into it. Now, I was innocent because I didn't light the skateboard on fire. I didn't ride the skateboard down the hallway. I didn't do what I got in trouble for doing, but I tell you what, I got in big trouble, and it was not fun for any of us. And they looped like probably 10 people into this. And have you ever gotten in trouble for something that your friends did? Where you're like in the wrong place at the wrong time, they do something like, oh crap, no, like your name is dragged into it? Yeah, all the time. Shoot, it happens every day. Get new friends, that's my advice. Get new friends. What about the opposite? The opposite of that, which would be you are in trouble on your own account, and you are rightfully in trouble, and somehow somebody gets you out of trouble. Let me give you an example. Maybe you've done this, maybe you haven't. But if you haven't done this, here's a new idea to try at least. A cop pulls you over for speeding. You're speeding. You should get a ticket. You're deserving of the ticket. You are breaking the law. And the cop has every right to give you a speeding ticket. And let's say you're going 20 miles an hour over, so there's not even like a fudge area. It's like, dude, you need a ticket. The cop comes up to your window, and you name drop. And you name drop a cop that you know that works in that department. So let's say you get pulled over in Downey and you got a buddy that works in the Downey Police Department, and you name drop, oh hey, you know what, I'm good friends with Officer so-and-so. And the officer that's going to write you a ticket knows Officer so-and-so, and because he knows him to be like a good guy, he's like, oh, you're friends with him? You're like good friends with him? How good of friends are you with him? Oh, okay. He lets you go. Anything that ever happened to anybody? It's totally possible, Diana. You did that? You name dropped to a cop? Dang. Anybody else? It does happen. It does work. Shelly too? Wow, all the girls. See, guys don't get breaks. Oh, Chris, you did. I was just gonna make a whole like girl thing because
no, I didn't do.
We don't.
I didn't get outside. I had this Chick-fil-A name tag on, and the guy was like, "Oh, you work at Chick-fil-A?" He told me to give me a ticket.
Are you
You
serious?
totally name dropped on accident. That wasn't even on purpose.
I'm just gonna wear my Chick-fil-A name tag anyway. There you go.
So you're in trouble, rightfully so, and you are, because you are associated with somebody that this guy knows to be a good person, he lets you off. Understand? So there's two ways this goes. You are dragged into something that you didn't do, and you are let out of something that you did do. All right? It happens. It's kind of interesting. Let me read this passage to you out of the book of Romans chapter 5 still. Sorry if you guys are being bored with it, but it's a good chapter. It's verse 18. Let me read it to you. Here's what it says. Consequently, just as the result of one sin was condemnation for all men, so also the result of one act of righteousness was justification that brings life for all men. For just as through the disobedience of the one man, the many were made sinners, so also through the obedience of the one man, the many will be made righteous. So you have one guy that makes us all guilty. Do you know who that is? The one guy? Did I hear somebody say the A word?
Yep.
Adam. Has anybody never heard of Adam and Eve? Or like you see Adam and Steve?